All right.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Yo! What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome to Game Over Edmonton. It's your boy, Avry here, making my debut on the show. I am so glad to finally make my debut on Game Over Edmonton. I'm fired up. Oilers win 3-1 over the St. Louis Blues, and I am joined by a guest. Oh, if you know Oilers Twitter, if you know him, you know his work. He's been around for quite some time. He's an Oilers Nation writer. He's a broadcaster for the U of A Golden Bears hockey team. It is the one, the only Zach Laing. Zach, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the podcast.
Avery, thank you so much for having me, man. Yeah, super excited. Happy to be here for the inaugural show, and what a better way to do this than talking about a victory.
Well, I'll say it first one with me because Dennis and Zach have done stuff before, so I'll say first one with me. But, hey, Dennis and Zach, they've done amazing stuff with this show beforehand. Those two deserve a round of applause. And before we get to the hockey talk, Zach, I gotta say, a Chicago Bears fan and a Packers fan in harmony, it can happen. It can happen in this world, some way, somehow.
There you go. We'll soon enough get peace on earth, Avery.
Whoa, my goodness. We certainly will, Zach. And so, like I mentioned off the top here, Edmonton wins 3-1 over St. Louis, just their sixth win in 20 games against the Blues on the road. And it was a gritty win. It was a strong win, the first road game. What did you like, what did you dislike about Edmonton's win against the Blues tonight, Zach?
Well, I think there's a lot to like from the game, Avery. I mean, not only did they come out strong on the first, but they closed out the game strong as well. And Stuart Skinner, I mean, what more can you say? An absolutely tremendous goaltending performance from him. Very quickly, he's looking like a real deal here as an NHL goaltender. I think there's a lot of good things that we saw tonight, and I think it kind of goes up and down the lineup and the way that the Oilers have depth throughout their forwards group, right? You see a guy like Ryan McLeod, for example. I thought he's been having an absolutely tremendous year. Darnell Nurse, he had a really great game tonight. Leon Draisaitl, what was that, like a 4-minute shift?
Right?
Like that was absolutely insane, right? I think this was a really, really big game for the Oilers to win here, going on the road against a tough St. Louis team who just shut you out. And then, when the game's on the line, it's Connor McDavid stepping up, right? He comes up and he's able to find, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the back door there to score, a massive goal, number 200, which is kind of crazy to say. The Oilers are able to walk out victorious.
No, of course, that was a massive win. And, I'm glad for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's someone who I've liked for a very long time. I know last week he had a casual 4-point game. He had this game as well. He's a guy, we've seen Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's grown up before our eyes as the oldest guy in the team, which to me makes me feel like I'm 85 years old saying that. But he is. I remember I covered Ryan. I covered him with the Red Deer Rebels. He dapped me up when I covered him in junior. So seeing him now be elder statesman of his team is shocking to see. But he had a really great game, and also Stuart Skinner, almost 40 saves in the victory, and watching some of the saves he made in tight from the high danger zones for the Blues, like, I am so much more confident, Zach, in the tandem of Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner than I am last year of Koskinen and Smith. I've been advocating for a very long time for Stuart Skinner to get more starts, and when he's called upon, he's looked really good so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about the confidence that you're able to have in the two goaltenders. Sure, of course, they've each given up some shaky goals. Campbell's had some shaky moments, especially early in games. But I've also thought he's responded incredibly well too. And same with Stuart Skinner. I think when the time comes for the need for a big save, both of these guys are able to come up really big for this team. And I think that's really important to have. And I think, the last couple of years with the tandem of, Smith and Koskinen, I think that was something that the Oilers missed a lot of was, they didn't get the biggest saves when they really, really needed them. On a consistent basis, that is, because they had their moments. Like you'd have your moments with Mike Smith where he'd do some really crazy thing to end up making a save. And, sometimes Koskinen could flash the leather, but neither of them had the level of consistency, I think, that we've seen from Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner so far. Now, of course, pump the brakes a little bit. Of course, we're only 6-7 games into the regular season here. We're not even 10% of the way in. So there's a lot of runway left here, through the remainder of the year. But the early returns have been promising. I've been really happy with both of those guys. And I think the Oilers really have a situation here where they truly look like they might have an actual 1A and 1B. Like, it always felt that like Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen were almost like a 1B and 1C in a sense. Like, neither of them were able to be a really, really strong goaltender on a real consistent basis over 20, 30, 40 games. So hopefully that can be something that changes around a little bit here with Campbell and Skinner.
No, I totally hope so. Watching Stuart's game evolve has been fun. I know he had a big time. He improved a lot when he was in Bakersfield. I know he had that one game in that weird shortened season, which was like the hybrid bubble year where there's still no fans, in which you could tell he was going to be the future, but he needed to develop a little bit more. Went to Bakersfield, came here last year, and I love seeing how his rebound control is settled down. His glove hand is strong. It doesn't feel like it's a danger zone when he has the puck, when the puck is near the crease. So I like seeing that. And also, Zach, what I love seeing was the fact that they didn't give up the first goal. They weren't chasing the game. We've seen that so many times where the first 5 minutes of the hockey game, they're down 1-0, down 2-0. They weren't down. A defensive game for the most part, yes, but they weren't chasing the game. And that's what I love to see, Zach. I'm sure you feel the same way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a really, really important thing for this game, and then, Jesse Puljujärvi gets off the schneid 6 minutes in, deflecting that Darnell Nurse shot home. And I think that was a real good launching point for this team to be like, hey, you know what? This game's ours. When you look at the underlying numbers too, Avery, there was a lot of really promising things from that first period. The Oilers controlled 60% of the shot attempts, 63% of the scoring chances, and they only controlled 52% of the expected goal share, but they were able to walk out with a 1-0 lead after the first period. To do that on the road against the St. Louis Blues, who have long been known as one of the best defensive teams in hockey, I think that's huge. And then even when St. Louis pushed back in the second period, like they came at the Oilers really hard, especially late in that frame. And of course, Ryan O'Reilly was able to get the one goal, batting it out of the air and then it kind of trickling in. But I thought the Oilers really weathered the storm well. And I think that's something that's really important to note about this team too, is just that, they're finding their level of consistency with some offense. And not only that, but their play away from the puck as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And great to see Yessi getting rewarded. He's someone who he needed a goal for a very bad. He needed a goal badly just to get up the schneid here. He gets that goal, and once again, Yessi goes to the front of the net, goes to the shooting areas, and even when he hasn't been scoring, he's someone who is shown once again why he's still one of the better defensive forwards on this team. The disdain for Yessi is something that I still do not get. When he's not scoring, he's still a great forechecker. He's still defensively strong. He is someone who I still feel, Zach, has to be a part of this team for a very long time to come. If you're going to trade anybody, he is not the guy that you should be trading. The fact that his name is still around trade rumors, to me, is remarkable, because that would be truly an unforced error on Ken Holland's part to get rid of Jesse Puljujärvi.
I mean, Avery, I know you follow me and you followed me for a long time. I don't know how many people here, watching this broadcast follow me, but I've gone to war for Jesse Puljujärvi more than a number of times on Twitter. And for those reasons that you mentioned, I almost find a level of irony sometimes, because I think there's a certain contingent of the fan base who says, well, watch the game and, you'll see him bobble pucks and you'll see him, miss scoring chances. And he looks like a giraffe on the ice. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. Like, sometimes he may look like that, but more often than not, he's getting pucks out of the zone. He's finding a way to get to the high danger scoring areas. I think something that's really important with Puljujärvi too, like, he spends more time in the offensive zone than in the defensive zone. Whenever he's on the ice, the Oilers aren't really in their own zone a whole lot. You even look at the goal, that he ended up scoring, right? Like, he gets the pass from McDavid on the half wall. He fires it across the ice to Foegele. And then what does Puljujärvi do? He just drives to the net. Like, he just goes to a high danger scoring area. Foegele feeds the puck back up to the point from Nurse, and Puljujärvi's in the right place at the right time to score. And I think he does that a lot more than people realize. And, even when you look at his heat maps and where he's on the ice, where he shoots the puck, where he has shot attempts from, it's always in that sort of home plate circle in front of the net, which is exactly what you want to see from any player, and especially a guy like Jesse Puljujärvi. And I 100% agree with you, Avery. I think he's a player who's imperative to this Edmonton Oilers team down the road, because as much as you want to have guys that can finish and that can score all the time, and even if Puljujärvi doesn't become a consistent goal scorer, the amount of value that he provides defensively to this team is something that's super crucial. And you look at the cup winning teams from, the last number of years up and down their lineup, they all had guys who were those, quote unquote defensive specialists. And that's exactly what Puljujärvi is.
No, that's totally true. You know else is imperative, Zach? Your ad reads to pay your bills. So give me 1 second here. We'll do a very important ad read. Want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook. Football continues. The World Series is around the corner, and they've dropped the puck on hockey season. Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Made for Canadians, by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Ontario only, 19 plus, and please play responsibly. All right, so back to that now. And with this game, Zach, I gotta say, is Leon Draisaitl a cyborg? Leon Draisaitl in this game had a shift of over 4 minutes. He got pucks in net from one leg. I'm running out of words to describe the effort of Leon Draisaitl in terms of what he can do with the puck. I'm stunned, Zach.
Yeah, it's incredible. He's such a good player. He really is. And I think, he's another one of those guys that's really rounded out his game to become more of a 200-foot player as well. And I think that's something that's, gone maybe a little bit unnoticed at this point in his career. Same thing with Connor McDavid, of course, right? But Draisaitl, it's so impressive the way he's able to play and he's able to conserve his energy. I mean, you look back at the series against Calgary, right? And, you listen to all the stuff from this offseason and the way he talked about kind of finding a new way to play the game and finding a different way to sort of play. And I think that's kind of what we just saw tonight, right? Like he doesn't have to do a lot to continue to be an incredibly effective player. Even at the end of that shift, when that puck got chipped out of the Oilers zone, he was still hard in on the forecheck. Like he may not have been like the F1 deep in on the forecheck, but he was still come floating in right as that second forward. And of course, he ended up going off for a much deserved break, right? But it just shows the level of commitment that this guy has to his game. I don't know what else he can say. He is, and like even tonight, like he ended up quietly having a really nice assist to help set up Zach Hyman too. Like he just continuously finds ways to produce for this club.
Right, it's amazing. I know it didn't score, but you could still sense Connor was there on the ice. I know he had his back. I know he hurt himself against Pittsburgh sliding into the net, but he was still someone you can still sense he was there on the ice, trying to make an impact. And I like the fact that this team is finding ways to win games without McDavid scoring, because what has been the big thing we've heard for quite some time about this team, Zach? This team is
one guy.
Exactly. One guy, or you throw in Draisaitl, a two-man team. If one of these guys goes down or one of these guys isn't in the lineup, they can't score, they can't find a way to win. But what happens? You get Puljujärvi in there, you get Hyman playing well. And this is what solid teams, this is what cup-winning teams do. They find a way to get production up and down the lineup. And so it was a great example of that, getting more production, more scoring from guys beyond 97 and 29.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for so long, Avery, you and I have both covered this team for what feels like forever. One thing we've always talked about is having depth problems on this team, right? Like we've always had issues with depth, and like the Oilers still have an issue with depth, but it's like a good problem to have where we actually have guys who can play up and down the lineup. And it's like, well, where do all these guys kind of fit into the lineup now? Whereas before it was like, oh my God, Ryan Jones is playing in the top 6. Like what the hell's going on? Right. So it's kind of interesting to see the way that, they're able to have these guys rotate up and down through the lineup. And I think it's just something that's so important for this team. Again, we'd look at all the cup winning teams. They always have guys who can go and play up and down their lineup. And that's exactly what the Oilers are getting now. And guys like Zach Hyman and like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins too, like he just seems to be finding another level to his game, which is just incredibly impressive. Not to say for a guy of his age, but for a guy who's, in his late 20s heading into his early 30s, he's having a monster start to the year and scores a huge goal for the Oilers tonight.
That's true. And of course, with the depth here, I loved the line of Fogel, Puligarvi, and McLeod. Like those three guys, the combination were
Oh,
magnifique. I love what those guys are doing. And once again, Ryan McLeod, he's another guy who Jay Woodcroft just spoke so much. Like you see Jay Woodcroft, whenever you ask him about Ryan McLeod in that room, Zach, like Jay Woodcroft gets a big smile on his face talking about Ryan McLeod. Seeing what he can do in many aspects is a beautiful thing to see as someone who was developed under Woodcroft in Bakersfield, and now his game continues to evolve in the NHL level, Zach.
yeah, absolutely. He just seems to be hitting another level this year. And his play has just been tremendous. He's just like, not to make like too stark of a comparison here, but he's like almost like a McDavid light in a sense where he has that really high end speed and the hockey IQ that McLeod has is just through the roof. He's always in the right place at the right time. And this is even something we saw from him when he was first called up from the Condors, a few years ago for some brief stints. It was like, wow, this kid is really, really smart. He knows where to go on the ice. He knows where to be. And that's really something that you can't teach, right? And like even tonight, you look at their underlying numbers for those three, they controlled 60% of the shot attempts. They controlled, 60% of the scoring chances. 70% of the scoring chances, 65% of the expected goal share. Again, against the St. Louis team that, is one of the best defensive teams in hockey. I mean, the Oilers really dominated this game, front to back, top down. Really impressive performance from everybody. I wrote about this the other day at OilersNation.com, Avry, but what happens with Dylan Holloway now, right? Because he's going to be coming back from injury here in the next couple of days, likely be able to slot back into the lineup. I just look at this Oilers top line right now, and I don't see a body that you can comfortably take out of the lineup right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough decision for Jay Woodcroft very soon here. And 2 games in a row, Zach, and what is going on with the attack on Oiler players from goaltenders? First was Tristan Jarry with that takedown, which didn't get penalized, and now Jordan Binnington's throwing a punch at Evander Kane. Like, I don't know what's going on here. This is bizarre stuff, man.
Well, the Jarry one was weird because we haven't really seen this sort of a thing from Tristan Jarry before. Like he kind of seems like he seems like a good boy, right? Like he's, he doesn't seem to want to muck it up in that sense. But Jordan Binnington, on the other hand, he's like a little bit of a goon back there. He's like Billy Smith from the 1970s with the New York Islanders, hacking and chopping at guys. I don't really like it personally from goaltenders when they try and do that sort of stuff. I think it's, we talk about vulnerable players on the ice, and I think in that sense of the term, Evander Kane's a vulnerable player. He's driving towards the net. He's got his head down, and all of a sudden he's eating a glove from Jordan Binnington. And you know what would happen too if all of a sudden Evander Kane was like, hey, what's this? And went at him. Well, Evander Kane is going to be eviscerated as being the bad guy when Jordan Binnington is this absolute instigator in these sort of situations. And we saw it happen the other year too. I can't remember which game it was or who was against, but he got pulled off the ice and he went at like 5 or 6 guys as he was like skating to the bench. Like it's just really weird behavior as far as I'm concerned.
It is so strange. You know what? There's an old saying, he who finds out will F around. It's like it's gonna happen one day. Like it might be another goaltender. It might be a skater. Like someone is going to tell Jordan Binnington one day, all right, you want to mess around? See what happens.
Absolutely. Like, absolutely, man. Like somebody's going to feed him his lunch and it's not going to be a pretty situation for him.
No, it is. It's very true. It's a weird situation. And now the Oilers go on to Chicago for the next game of the road trip. What are your thoughts now on this team playing Chicago? A team that, of course, deep in the rebuild now and trying to keep your head above water. I'm watching Chicago and seeing the Blackhawks now. Of course, I don't feel bad for Chicago. I really don't with what's going on. Like, I don't feel bad that this team is now bad and struggling in attendance. But just what are your thoughts now as Edmonton plays Chicago on a back-to-back here?
Well, you know what? I think you cannot take them lightly. I think that's the most important thing. Like the Oilers need to come in, they need to play a hard game. Surprisingly, through the 6 games Chicago's played, they're actually posting some pretty solid defensive numbers when you look at their analytics. They're 7th right now in the league in expected goals against per hour. So they're doing a really good job of actually shutting things down defensively, which is kind of weird to say. But you know what? They're 4-2 right now. They're playing some good hockey, and they kind of have that like why not us mentality. You look at guys like Patty Kane and Jonathan Taves really helping lead the way for him. Owners and management are saying, well, we're going to tear it down. And Taves and Kane are kind of saying, well, no, we're not. We're still here to play. So, I think everybody kind of looks at Chicago and says, oh, well, it should be an easy win. It should be an easy win. But at the end of the day, in the NHL, there's no such thing as an easy win. There really isn't. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens tomorrow night. I think the Oilers are going to have to find their game. And on the one side, they got Alex Stalock in net. So, former Edmonton Oiler Alex Stalock. So we all know how that goes as Oilers fans. But he's actually having a nice start to his year. He's 3-1-0. He's got a 209 goals against and a 938 save percentage. He's playing some good hockey. Chicago's playing some decent hockey. So the Oilers are going to need to come in with another strong start to their game like they did tonight.
No, that is very true. I couldn't agree more with you on that. I mean, before I let you go, I do want to ask you, I've not had the chance to ask people this on air yet. I'm going to ask you, Zach, your thoughts on the reverse retros, yay or nay? Are you a fan of it? Like, to me, I felt they should have gone with the jersey. I felt they should have gone with a white or a silver base, not a blue base again like it 20 years ago.
Well, you see, Avery, my first ever hockey jersey was one of those old oil drop jerseys, and it was a Tommy Salo jersey. My aunt gave it to me as a birthday gift one year. So the old oil drop is very near and dear to my heart because of that memory that I have from my childhood. I don't know if I really like the new jersey a whole lot. I mean, I love that they brought back the logo. What really throws me off is the big orange that they have in the middle there. I don't think that's a good look. Otherwise, I think it's pretty good. Like I like the orange accent. I like the way they kind of brought that in a little bit, but that orange in the center of that oil drop logo is what really throws it off for me. So I'm giving it a mid grade. I'm going to give it like a B minus or a C plus. We'll go with that right in the middle.
That's probably fair. Yeah, C minus B plus. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a fair assessment. I just feel if you went more the theme of reverse and had a silver backing, I think it would have been in the A tier, much like the San Jose Sharks Golden Seals look is, much like the LA Kings look is. I feel like it was a chance to bring out a color they haven't worn yet for a jersey, but you know what? Hey, maybe on Reverse Retro Volume 3, if there is a Volume 3 for next year, they'll reverse with an actual silver jersey, but we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. That would actually be really interesting to see go with a silver base on a jersey. You know what, Avery, you might be onto something there, buddy.
Hey, if the Oilers media team is watching, hey, if Daryl Cates, if you're watching, there's an idea. If you're watching, Mr. Cates, silver base on a jersey for next year.
There we go. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, Zach, thank you for being my first guest with me on Game Over Edmonton. We gotta do it again sometime, and hopefully you do it again this year, buddy.
That'd be great, Avery. You got my number. Call me anytime. I'd be happy to come on.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach.
Recording.
All right. Zach Laing. That was fun. Oilers Nation. Golden Bears hockey. What a blast. What a fun chat here on Game Over Edmonton. And this is the funny part about doing your first ever show. Trying to work out the kinks. Trying to get everything together. Trying to make sure you're back in the center of your screen. That is what I've been trying to make sure I've been doing. Uh-oh. You know what? For tonight, we'll leave myself right there. I don't want to end up with the camera. Oh, there we go. I think every host of Game Over has had some sort of issue with framing or streaming. You know what? Hey, I figure get it out of the way right now. Get it settled now. First game, second game. So that we're crystal clear. We're crisp. We're rolling for, I would say, game 10, 15, 20, 25. And for those of you watching, hey, thank you all. I just saw a chat room. For me, I'm impressed. I'm always impressed with the people who can do a post-game show and monitor the chat room during an interview. For me, it's a bit hard, but I'm catching up right now. I'm gonna go into our YouTube comments right now and see what people are saying. I'm seeing the comments from a lot of people now. Hey, thank you all for the comments. I'm appreciative. It's a blast doing this. I gotta thank once again Jesse, Steve, Andrew, Adam for reaching out and wanting me to be a part of Game Over. I think it's a blast. I think it's so much fun. I think it's so much fun doing it. Oh, I had to make sure I didn't knock the stream off. Oh my gosh. I had to make sure I didn't lose a stream because that would not have been good. Oh boy. Knock the stream off mid podcast. That would not have been good. So yeah, Edmonton's playing Chicago next. But hey, give me your thoughts. What are your predictions for Edmonton's game against Chicago? Just thoughts on what this team has done so far, what they need to improve on, who you like, what you don't like about this team, so on and so forth. But I just thought it was a strong defensive game and a game in which it felt crisp. One thing that Edmonton gained early to start the year, we know they came into this game, they were 3-3, and there was a bit of uncertainty. This team didn't feel crisp outside of the power play. Outside of the power play, things didn't feel like they're clicking consistently. I thought things were a little bit better, but the penalty kill, the penalty kill is still a little bit iffy. That is something that has to be worked out. That is one thing that Jay Woodcroft from day one has said has to be corrected, and I like that. I appreciate Jay pointing that out, that the penalty kill has to be improved. Thank you guys. I appreciate. I see the comments. I see everybody here is watching. Robert, Zach, Dennis. Thank you all for the comments. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, I see the Fedora comment from Hater McDater. Yeah, the Fedora comment. Yo, I had to go on camera. That's the one thing about me. When you see me here on Game Over, yes, the wardrobe, the hats, the suits, they will always be on point when I come on Game Over. That's one thing about me. I try to stay fresh. It's a drip or drown world, and I learned how to swim at a very early age when it comes to fashion. So you will always see me decked out in something nice when I go on camera, like I always do when I do hits on City TV, when I do hits on Zone Time, for Yahoo Sports. So it's consistent. But also, one thing I hate doing is I cannot stand showing my hair on camera. Never liked it, never have. That's why the fedoras are a great way, a great cover for me for that aspect. Something that I love wearing, I love doing. And yeah, and so, and a few times this year, there will be a few shows this year in which myself, Dennis, and Zach will all be on camera at the same time. There will be a few there will be a few broadcasts with two of us and the three of us. You're gonna get a fun Madden cast style broadcast. I won't say what games yet. I won't say what. I don't want to spoil that. But you'll get broadcasts with all three of us on camera. So I cannot wait to do that because we have yet to have a chat on camera yet as a trio. We've done it before the show launched when it came to our show meetings, but we've yet to go live with all three of us on camera. But they're great guys, and again, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and chat with you all and have some fun. Red Robert. There we go. Robert's the first. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Robert's the first person to mention it. The food takes. Yes. See, I take way too much undue hate for my food takes. I take way too much undue hate for my food takes on hockey Twitter. They aren't that bad. They are not that bad. I don't know why. I go out here and I tweet about something besides hockey, if it's food. If I go out to a different market, I just get hammered for it. But I will put to bed a few things. Yes, I do enjoy eating well done steaks. That's not a bit. I do. I just don't trust undercooked beef. I don't trust beef that isn't anything but well done. It's a thing I've done for many years. In the same way that I don't eat cereal with milk. I think cereal and milk isn't gross. so I eat my cereal dry. That's a known thing. And hey, if you want to come yell at me on the podcast, hey, it is what it is. I'll take my licks. I've been here many times before. Been there, done that. It is what it is. It is what it is. But like I was mentioning earlier, how the Oilers is a team that will find it's finding a way to score beyond just Draisaitl and McDavid. I still feel Connor McDavid is going to have a year of over 120 points. I still feel he's going to end up with a year in which he gets. I predicted for the Hockey News. I had McDavid getting 222 points. He might get more. He might get more still. But I like this team figuring out ways to score without him, or winning games in which he doesn't have to have a 3 or 4 or a 5-point night. That's what elite teams can do. But I still think Connor gets his 120 points, and I think he gets 50 for the first time. We see McDavid's play. We all know McDavid is a pass-first guy. We know he loves to be the distributor more. But I just have a feeling that this is the year in which Connor dominates and finds a way to break the 50-goal mark. Now, I think Rocker Richard is still going to Austin Matthews, but I do think that McDavid and Draisaitl both top 50 goals. I will say McDavid 50, Draisaitl 50, 2 or 53, and Matthews at 59. This is the year in which, and remember, I don't even know if we have seen the top of Connor McDavid yet. I still don't know if we've seen peak McDavid. I thought we did. I thought we did when he had 105 points in 56 games, but I was proven wrong. I was proven wrong. Like, it is impressive when you see a guy like that on television, but then when you see him in person, when you see what McDavid can do in person, ridiculous. And I've not heard any real updates yet in terms of what happened after he hurt his back. I guess it appears he's good. It appears he's good from when he hit his back against the Penguins. And you like seeing that. You like seeing Connor McDavid playing again. I'm sure he was in a little bit of pain against the Blues, but hey, he's got that vibranium spine. He's good to go. Oh boy. Home and away suits and hats. Matt, you never know, Matt. I might break out a home and away suit. You never know. You never know. Don't worry. The wardrobe this year will be updated to include some new fits. And hey, there might be some. If I do go on the road, if there are a few games where I am on the road, I will try to find some new fits because hey, you gotta look clean. You have to look different every time you do a broadcast. But oh my goodness, it's fun being here again, and then I'll be back here. I'll be hosting again tomorrow night with another guest. So tomorrow I'll reveal my guest for the Edmonton-Chicago game, and of course we'll be back again on Saturday nights for the Oilers-Flames game, the Battle of Alberta, round two in Calgary. And the way the NHL schedule is, it is still so funny to me that Edmonton and Calgary are only playing 3 games in the regular season. That matchup on Saturday night against the Flames will be the next to last matchup of Edmonton-Calgary, period, for this regular season. I know schedule making is not easy in the NHL. I know it's not. Schedule making is a hard job. It's not an easy thing to do, but the rotation falling to have Edmonton and Calgary playing that few games is so weird. But then again, last year, we had the Seattle Kraken in Edmonton only once last year, and I think it was 3 games in Seattle. Schedule making for hockey and for pro sports in general is not easy, but those were 2 instances of a schedule in which I was like, that for some reason looks really, really, really weird for whatever reason. So, anyways, gang, thank you so much for joining me on Game Over Edmonton. The Oilers win. 3-1 over the Blues. I'll be back here again after the Oilers take on Chicago. Anyways, we're out of here. Stay safe. Have a good sleep. Talk tomorrow. We're gone. Later.